What's up, everybody? Captain Matt here. Crabbing trip number 2 for the year is in progress. We had some really heavy morning fog, kind of threw a monkey wrench in our plan, so we're out and about just exploring. As you can see, the fog is lifted, and it's just glorious out here. And I also heard we're doing a giveaway. I guess I need to make some announcements about that. Stay tuned for all the details. Alright, so this trip was from May 27th. It was a Wednesday. It was 2 days after the tread trip. My son hadn't had a chance to go out yet, so he's still itching. So he was next on board. So our plan was to hit the tread again. We were going to do a quick lay or two, try some different areas, different depths away from where I was, give it a go, and if the results were the same, then we were going to get out. The weather, they were calling for really gorgeous weather, low winds, good sun, good temperature. It should have been easy to get out and about out into the main bay there and hit either Little Chop Tank, Irish Creek, any of the southern Tillman Island type locations. The only bad part about the weather was they had a dense fog advisory. So, driven in fog before, not a big deal. We get up at 2:30, start driving south. When we first got up, the fog wasn't too bad. I guess it was just forming. We got about 30-40 minutes into our drive and it got super dense, to the point where I was starting to get uncomfortable driving. I could barely see 500 feet in front of me. Wasn't quite feeling it, so we called an audible. We ended up hitting the Y. I was close to the Y at that point, and I just hit the Y. It is too early for crabbing at the Y. Usually that river doesn't catch on fire. When I mean catch on fire, I mean the mass moves in, and pretty much anywhere you go, you can catch some crabs. That's usually June, July, August maybe. It varies every year. You can see a brief spurt of activity in June, then it kind of lays down for a bit and then picks back up full steam. So we weren't really expecting to catch much. It turned from a let's go catch some crabs trip to let's collect some recon. So once we got the boat launched, we motored on out. We could only putt about 5 miles an hour out. Like, it was still very dark. So we get to our spot. You know, the only real place to try would be somewhere out towards the mouth, laid out in some spots that I usually do well at early on in the season. We had 4,800 feet of line with us, which turned out to be a waste just because we knew we weren't expecting much. We were expecting to catch maybe a dozen if we were lucky. Yeah, we knew the water temperature was down. But there's some things to check out. So we laid 2 split lines, 2,400 in 2 different locations. We ran it each line once, and this is what we saw. So it was basically absolutely nothing, no signs of life. We started to run. This is the second line again, one of the lines again. And then all of a sudden we looked over and we could see the lighthouse sitting at the mouth of the Y, and we're like, yep, it's time. So the fog started to dissipate at this point. I think it was around 8 o'clock. So we just picked up and moved. So we started pulling in the line. So even if you're on a trip hoping to catch crabs, you know, you're not doing successful, there is intel. It's all about intel and being prepared for your next trip. So some of the observations in this trip, all I'm looking for is signs of life. You know, I wasn't really expecting to catch a lot, but are there a few scattered here? Are there none? What other signs of life do I see? Do I see, you know, cow nose rays or stingrays? I don't know which one they're called. Do I see jellyfish? Do I see algae? How's the water clarity? I'm looking for temperature. I'm looking to see if there's any other comms in the area, any other boats crabbing out there. So with the wildlife, other wildlife and sea creatures, I'm kind of trying to gauge salt levels again. Last year was weird. We did have problems with salinity getting north, but I do remember being out there. I think it was like mid-June, out towards the mouth of the Y, and I saw dolphins or porpoises. Unfortunately, I didn't have any video of that, but I did see them out in the Eastern Bay, just outside the mouth of the Y River. So the only thing that I really did, I noticed it was about 67, 68 degree water temperature, and this was last week. So it was still pretty cold, but I did see some jellyfish, which is a good sign because that means the salt level is up where jellyfish like it. That means it's salty. So outside of that, I saw some commercial boats and they were collecting eels. They had eel traps out, and that was about it. No other commercial crabbers. It was a Wednesday, so I obviously wouldn't expect to see any recreational crabbers. Outside of some jellyfish, I saw nothing. Tried all sorts of depths. So when I laid the lines, I made sure I covered a wide gamut of depths in some areas that I know typically do okay early season. It was at this point where I asked my son, well, where we go next? So knowing we weren't going to catch crabs and we were going to recon, we expected to hit at least 4, 5, 6 different locations just to get a gauge. He says, Dad, take out the farthest one possible. So he didn't get any sleep, and of course, as we pull the line up and start motoring on, he heads into the cabin here and takes a cat nap. So I figured I'd work my way out and come back in. So I wanted to try at least hit the Y, and really the only reason I stopped at the Y was because fog, so it's killing some time. But now the fog's lifted, I wanted to head out towards the bay just to see if some crabs were coming in or there were any signs of crabs coming in. So the next spot we hit was Claiborne, just outside of Claiborne. The Claiborne ramp in northern Tillman Island. Laid 2,400 feet there, and this is what we saw. I didn't capture this, it didn't come out, and I'm going to show you some pictures of some blobs, but I did see one crab. I know, one crab. It was kind of funny. I was like, oh my god, we saw a crab. But he was sleeping. So I wanted to run the line again. If it wasn't for that one crab, I'd probably just picked up the line and left. But I was like, I gotta catch this one crab. At least I have one crab for this video. So I ran the line again, and sure enough, the crab was still there in the same general location, and he dropped off again. And the only thing that really showed up in the dipper cam was a little ghost of it blob coming down. So technically I didn't catch anything since I don't have any proof that I caught some, but I saw a little shadow, kind of like Loch Ness Monster. So observations at Claiborne. Water temperature was about the same as it was in the Y. It was like high 60s, 68, 68-ish. At this point it was closer to maybe 9, 10 o'clock. No commercial boats out in the water. No signs of commercial boats. I did catch quite a few horseshoe crabs. Another sign of good salt levels. Water clarity was pretty good. And it was just a beautiful day. It was at this point where I knew I wasn't going to really catch much, but I just really wanted to do some scouting, some just basic general scouting to see what was going on. But I had problems because it was such the perfect temperature outside with just a little breeze, enough where it felt good. It wasn't overly hot. The sun was out. I was not busting my butt. I was just sitting back, relaxing, enjoying. It was like the first day of the season where it was nice, warm, calm. I could go anywhere I wanted, no weeks. No, it was awesome. It was just so beautiful. It was just one of those days. It was a perfect day on the water. So at this point, I wake my son back up. I can do everything myself. What I really like most, especially about this boat layout, when I have help, is pulling in the line. So if I have a greenhorn or someone that doesn't feel like doing anything and just wants to enjoy themselves, that's fine. Usually I just ask people to call. It makes my day go quicker. But it comes really helpful when I pull the line. Otherwise I have to try to steer, then I put it in neutral, go try to hook the line. And the winder works very well, but it does have a tendency to sling bags and the line keeps popping off. Then I have to stop and try to get it going again, come back, especially on a windy day. Today would have been a breeze, but on windy days it's really challenging kind of go back and forth. I really need secondary controls, but that's not in the cards for now. So we picked up and then we headed to Poplar Island, just outside. I wanted to go outside of Poplar Island. I guess that would be more south as I come around northern Tillman. But I just stopped. I stopped inside the bay towards close to Poplar Island, laid another 2,400 feet of line, and this is what I saw. Picked that up, ran another 2,400 feet of line up at near Bloody Point. You know, I never really laid out there. There's some boats out there fishing. Actually, there was a commercial crabber running his pot lines up there. So there's a shoal, and I just laid on the shoal. They have no real experience in the area, but I just wanted to see what's going on. Maybe, who knows? But I laid 2,400 feet of line there, and I saw this. Pick that up, and we have one more spot, and I love the miles. I put that in the comment for favorite river. You know, it was just learning. I learned a lot, and I cut my teeth in the miles. Excuse me. I like going to the miles because it wasn't very crowded. It has similar crabs as the, like, say, the Y, but so you just don't usually catch as many. It just has lots of memories for me there. At this point, it was closer to 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Commercial crabbers actually have a time limit. I think it's 10 hours under a commercial license. So I had to just get over there, lay a line, just run it. So I ran in one of my favorite spots there. It's all this. Yeah, more of the same. I did learn a lot. So all the water temperatures were all like in the upper 60s, anywhere between 67 to 69. The miles of all rivers, and then I was back a ways. It was 72, 73. Water clarity was pretty good everywhere. There were signs of salt everywhere. Saw lots of turtles at the miles. So all signs that there's nice, good salt levels all around. Water temperature still a little cold. Again, it was May, so it's too early for most of those areas, but what I was looking for were just signs of life. If I could scrape together a dozen of crabs, that'd been great. The fog really threw a monkey wrench in our plans. Also with the fog, you know, tread would have been okay, but like when I go to new parts of new rivers or new rivers altogether, I like to at least see it in the daytime, not fight it. If you're not familiar with a river, it's best to kind of scout it out ahead of time and be familiar with what's going on instead of going out there in the pitch black, going out there with dense fog and you can't see. Maps are great, but there's also lots of things that aren't on maps. There's lots of other places I could have tried, but again, you know, it is a little too early. Didn't see any sorts of crab activity outside of a few horseshoe crabs and one crab that was just teasing me the whole time. So not the best of videos, but sometimes you're going to strike out. We went into it not expecting much, but we wanted to like get some information, get some intel going, and just see where mid-May actually stood. So as of last week, there are no signs of any sorts of crab life or crabbing activity. It should start to pick up over these next couple of weeks. We've had really awesome weather, real hot weather, not a lot of rain. That all stuff that really helps push the crabs in and get them going. And as far as the giveaways goes, I still need Night 33 Nurse to get a hold of me via email. You were the first winner. And for the second giveaway, please refer back to the tread video. Instructions are in the tread video of what you need to reply to, what the topic is, and we're going to pick the winner for that contest in the next video. And until next time, I'll catch you later.